Exactly. Everything sort of comes down here. This one's for all the marbles. As we're watching this one, what do you want from either team? Because I think both teams need to make adjustments.
I think that, so game 1, it was great mobility from Dignitas. Game 2, it was better control coming out of Rival. I think that Dignitas were a little topsy-turvy there. They got caught slipping on several occasions. They couldn't really handle the objective control from Rival. So that's how Dignitas need to fight Rival. Just worry about their objective control and make sure they have their own mobility.
That's the big deal, is the objectives. That's the one that I saw in game number 2. And Dignitas are looking right at Wlfy, taking care of the rock and the Isis. I like the Isis specifically because of how well she handles those objectives. And Rival are going to ban out Circuit and also the Giannis. So.
Well, keep in mind, Dodgy is available now with these, but it's going to be the Nemesis instead for Dignitas. They really saw the power that was brought in the second game here for iceicebaby.
QvoFred loves this character. So does Ice, so that's why I like it as a selection. Sort of taking it away without hindering yourself either. Perfect pick from Dignitas. Chulainn and Nuwa a second time will be the choice for Team Rival.
And I like this idea here, but the difference here is going to be Nuwa for Rival, as opposed to last game it was for Dignitas, so need to be a little bit more defensive against some of the frontier, especially against this Thoth.
Yeah, Thoth last time was last pick, not going to be the case this time around. Nemesis and Thoth will be joined by the Crocodile. Sobek is going to come through and be, again, some flexibility there. Not quite sure if he'll be in the support role or the short lane.
A lot of Sobekitude for Dignitas here, picking it all 3 games. Games 1 and 2 was on variety here. Still up in the air with where the support is going to be for Dignitas. Picking the Fafnir in the last game was a good look there, but he just got abused every single time that he would come out of his transformation.
Sure. Definitely going to pay attention to the damage, and that's where we see the Ares come in. This is another look for Collis. Again, we'll see him on the Ares. Love when he goes this selection. I think he understands exactly what Ares brings, but perhaps more importantly, what he doesn't bring. And the draft usually reflects that for Team Rival. Banning out 2 Guardians, no Terra, no Fafnir. Dignitas taking a look towards the jungle. No Daji and no Naja, one of Ice's standouts.
Surprising to see Artio not being prioritized by Rival. Still getting the cripple with the Ares, but going for the more execution required here.
Sure.
So if Callis can hit his stuff, we'll set up Wlfy definitely on this new WoW. Vote, though, on the Ullr, probably expecting to see level 1 blink.
Certainly expecting that aggression out of that one. Achilles will be a choice here for Team Dignitas, likely in the solo lane for variety. We'll see if that's where the long-haired assassin, I want to call him, but he's technically a warrior. We'll see where he winds up. But the Anhur, undoubtedly going in the hands of Arkkyl, is a god that Arkkyl likes to play, and he likes to play it aggressively. So I love the choice versus the Ullr.
Could also pick up Blink at level 1 for that god, and it's a great idea to get that CC immunity against an Ares. 75-second cooldown on that ultimate, whereas a lot of other ultimates are 90 seconds. And as opposed to using that 160-second beats cooldowns, that's what you're really looking for in the Hunter role against Callis' Ares. Just survive.
Last pick, Ice on the Robin. Now, if you ask me, I think Dignitas are going to take this game number 3. I like their composition, I like their style, and I like the way they played earlier in the set. How are you feeling, Toli?
I feel if Rival can get off to a great start in the duo lane between this Ullr Ares, they win it. If they don't, Dig.
Seems like it's all about a couple of different variables, but it's not up to us. Let's toss the game over to the commentators. It's Graham, the Gambler Hindu Man, and Ryan Agro Bailey.
Thank you, Pepe and Tolly. A lovely set to bring in now. The last game of this best of 3 between 2 of the best teams in Europe that, honestly, I think this is going to be the whole year we're going to see these matchups.
I really think so, too. These 2, along with Energy, seem to be the best teams. For my money, I think if you're looking at overall in the world right now, you slot in these 3 in any particular order, and then comes the rest of the teams in North America, because these 3 have been playing at an incredible level.
Definitely. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, because my question is, who do you guys, first of all, think is going to win at home? But for me, it's like, is it the Sobek solo, or is it the Achilles solo with Achilles support, Achilles solo?
I think it'll be Achilles solo. I think that Dignitas realized that they lost pressure in that lane. It's the same Chulainn.
No.
Here for Rival.
It's Trixtank, though.
Why run it back?
Okay. Okay, I wasn't sure because Trixtank, maybe they did debate with the Sobek there. I mean, Trix generally is one of the ones that prefers the warriors in that lane. He's one of the most aggressive, or used to be at least. Now that he joined this Dignitas team, Trix has kind of been not nullified, but brought in line.
He just got old, man. He just got
old?
a little bit older. Yeah, you know, Trix was a young gun back in the day.
Hey,
just
all of us were young guns back in the day.
That's what I mean, and we all reined it in, and as did Trix.
You actually thought you were professional. That's how good it was.
I thought so.
But you went 61% of Rival. All the fans still favouring Rival every single game. They've got a lot of fan support, these Rival boys. And rightly so. I mean, if you look back at the history of this team overall, before they were even called Rival, you'll see that this was a team that existed through the Pro League, fighting in 7th and 8th position every single split, trying to do their thing, and now they're seen as one of the top teams in Europe.
Man, can you imagine, like, if someone comes from the future, we're talking like Season 3, someone comes to the future and goes, yo,
this team,
Cyclone GG is going to be
Yeah.
second place at Season 4 Worlds. And everyone's going to think that they easily could have won it. Season 5, they'll be one of the best teams in the world.
And then they're going to lose to North America in the finals.
Yeah, and you're just
where
like,
Polar Bear
what?
Mike is on the team.
Yeah,
You're like, wait,
exactly.
what?
Exactly. Are you serious right now?
Venenu in mid lane is going to win a world championship and an MVP. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, Venenu
What
MVP.
world am I in?
He's, at the time, the ADC for Team Allegiance. Yeah, crazy.
Okay, let's see the adjustments this time around then. Dignitas sending 2 to the left-hand side, 2 members in mid for Rival. Meanwhile, support and at the same time, the jungler started speed for Rival. Carlos didn't get anything in the jungle there. What he did do is just make sure nothing was invaded right at the beginning of the game.
And because of QvoFred's rotation underneath towards the red buff of Rival, that prevents any pressure from being put onto Dignitas' side of the map. So Wlfy actually a little bit behind right now from Zyrhoes, level 2 to level 1, of course, but Wlfy was able to make sure that Dignitas got their own red, which is what they could have given up potentially with something like an Ullr Ares laying up against Sobek Anhur. So a little bit of a trade-off. Wlfy seems to fall victim more than anybody else, but it makes sure that duel lane is even.
And talk about lane, Sobek Anhur, a classic. And to be fair, and Ares is a classic against that composition to try and shut them down with the CC chains. Trixtank going to eat a little bit more poke from Vote there, thanks to the axe. And one of the most dangerous dual lanes of the old days is Anhur and Sobek.
As I was talking about in Game 2, I mean, Sobek Pluck and a Nuwa combo is something that I always love to play with, but Sobek Pluck into little sidestep on her, impale into the wall, then pillar off their escape. It's a classic for a reason, man. It's very effective.
QvoFred going to try and invade at those Harpies, but already Iceice's taken those down, and now it's Qvo out of position. Has to double dash away. Iceice with his own speed buff, not going to be able to give chase too much as the build is identical at the time being. But I do like the adjustments. I prefer Raven over the Kamazots in the jungle to take on this Nemesis, in my opinion.
Agreed. And it's not only that Raven pressure that'll be exerted early on, but also the Ares selection into the Nemesis that forces QvoFred into purification beads instead of the Blink. Blink Nemesis at levels 5 through 10 feels incredibly oppressive. It's so difficult to really find any sort of spot where you feel safe against that ability to gap close and deal guaranteed damage. But this way from Rival, they're at least don't have to worry about that until level 12.
I love the crafting of the picks and bans, though, because there's just a lot of intricacies that go into it. Like, for example, Thoth against a Ravana. I mean, Thoth, fantastic dash and escape to stay safe. But then again, you've got iceicebaby and Deathwalker that can take a bit of punishment and still keep running at you.
That's kind of the idea, is that you can just gap close and get on top of them. Deathwalker can just sprint after Zyrhoes in a lot of situations and make sure that he can close that gap. A really impressive ability to get on top of these mages and make sure that even with something like Evade and Punish that'll take you really far away and then give you a stun to peel for yourself, you still won't be able to get away.
Well, variety on the Achilles in the solo lane here, having to deal with iceicebaby, and the pressure from Deathwalker means he will lose his blue buff. However, QvoFred on the rotation may be able to cause a bit of a problem. Deathwalker's relatively low and his transformation is about to wear off now, but Qvo just going to be respectful there, realizes that Variety's not in a position to really fight. He's going to go back to base ever so quickly and finish off those boots.
It's because of the XP advantage for iceicebaby that you don't see Dignitas be aggressive here, and again, it kind of falls on Deathwalker getting pressure in this lane, even over top of that Achilles.
Let's have a little look at the Achilles as well. I just want to see what he's maxing, because we've seen a couple of different variations of what abilities max on Achilles, because you've seen variations of the stun, first of all, being maxed out, or the dash.
Could be either one. Deathwalker hasn't leveled that Vent Anger, which is kind of expected at this point. Don't really go for that. And it is that dash that Variety's leveling.
iceicebaby, though, going to go in on QvoFred, who was trying to strip away those harpies. Instead, it's iceicebaby in a world of hurt now because Variety was around the corner. And one stab in the back of the head by Variety is all it takes to bring down Rival's jungler.
Showtime for Achilles. Anytime anyone gets low enough, he can use that execute and bring him down very, very quickly. And Deathwalker getting poked out on that blue buff invade is what that really comes down to. In fact, Deathwalker still actually has to back again. Didn't he just back to base right there? Ended up getting poked out right away. I believe that was just by Variety as well. So without teleport, Variety love this play. Hold the wave because it's going to take a long time for Deathwalker to get here.
That's fair, and the minions will slowly but surely kill each other off. Obviously, they'll hit the nearest minion to them. That's something that you need to understand about the minion wave. All the minions will focus the furthest forward minion in range. And if you're studying that, it can actually cause you to get aggro for a second or two yourself. So position yourself nicely in those little trades. That's one thing a lot of players still struggle with in terms of how lane freezing actually works.
Got to use it in the right spots because oftentimes there's stuff that you could be doing around the map where it actually is not very good for you to freeze. But right there, I mean, if QvoFred wants to solo down those XP harpies, not a whole lot of Variety has to do. So may as well just put your hands in your pockets and wait.
I just always see a lot of people trying to lane freeze when it's not going to freeze, and they're not going to get anything out of trying to freeze it. Like, the minions are all going to die on their side, and yours are all still alive. Like, you've got to pick your timing right. Start this game once again. Wlfy, Shoes of Wlfy, I might have to start calling him because he's the real mid laner that's been picking up these cooldown shoes every single game.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's all 3 games here for the rival mid laner. And again, I mean, I kind of talked about it last game. I'm a big proponent of the penetration boots, but
I think you just all stuck in the same mentality. I mean, it used to be back in Season 2-1, we had Shoes of Focus as the priority one, but then ever since then, it's been Shoes of Magi.
Again, I think it really does mostly come down to player preference, but for what Rival wants to do, it seems to be working out for them to go for that cooldown.
Well, Deathwalker going to take a little bit of a poke into there as Cubo and Variety turn up. Zyrhoes still farming up in the mid lane, now level 8 to the level 7 of Wlfy so far. Looking like he's going for the Chronos Pendant a little bit earlier on. We'll find out if he invests in that or not, Zyrhoes. Obviously, the option of going Lost Artifact means you get an additional health potion or mana potion, and you've got a bit more sustain in terms of MP5.
But I'm surprised that Zyrhoes isn't rushing down a Warlock staff because that's really a critical pickup, I feel like, against the Nuwa in particular. Because
does he go Warlocks next then?
Could, but that's pretty slow overall. I mean, Wlfy should be able to finish his off earlier than that and get the stack lead in his favor. No, it looks like Zyrhoes is going to start off and go towards that Chronos Pendant. Maybe Dignitas just want to start the ball rolling early and try and play aggressive before that Nuwa is going to really cause Zyrhoes problems.
A lot of changes towards mid laners, more focus towards cooldown. Definitely a thing to be talking about this year. More so than previous ones. Trixtank round the corner and a great pluck. Callus can't do anything. Great individual play from Trixtank, sets up his team for a nice, easy pick in the mid lane.
And so what Sobek does for team fights late game as a solo laner, he can do a little bit earlier as a support because he's involved a little bit more early on. That's exactly like we saw in game 2, how you play against Ares. Just find him, isolate him, and beat him up when you can. But game 2, Dignitas did that once, never really found an opportunity to do it again.
Look at those wards in the map, from Dig. Look how many there is.
A lot. They really prioritize that vision, and that's a sign of a really good team. Now, Rival is also pretty even in the ward department. It's just that Trixtank has placed 3 wards so far. Kalas,
at the same time,
0 so far, though. Did just back to base and pick up 2, so he'll be able to put some vision on the map for Rival
See,
soon.
Trixtank being a team player there. He killed Callus so he can go and buy wards. That's the life of a support business. But Callus, though, wanting to turn things around there with that blink chains, but Arkkyl with the fast fingers to throw out the impale and make sure the chains couldn't be continued.
Only way that Kalas prevents that from happening is either using his own ultimate to give him CC immunity, or could actually use the Searing Flesh to give himself knockback immunity, cancel that,
Cancel your
and
chains,
then does it cancel your chains, or can you cancel it and then refire the chain?
I mean, in theory you can, but it's just too difficult. The window of execution there is so small. Callus going to get plucked, then Anhur's round the corner. Desert Fury comes through as Wlfy going to take to the sky. Variety, though, did he solo?
Soloed, yep.
He did, but Raven's on that side too as this fight's still going on here. Vote's nearly dead. Zyrhoes over the wall, takes out Vote with the judgment. And still Variety alive in this lane, soloing down Deathwalker.
And remember, Rival had the choice of Achilles solo if they wanted a pressure warrior, but they went for the Chulainn, and Deathwalker or Variety rather, showing that maybe that wasn't quite the pick. Certainly getting the better end of Deathwalker thus far.
This is a big swing for Dignitas to get this goal, and they will do so. Not only the solo kill on that side, look at this swing. The graph just escalating time and time again now in favor of Dignitas in all areas of the map.
And this is what I love about these 3-game sets, is that we get to see these adjustments that pro teams want to make. First 2 games, very slow, very calculated, wanted to wait until the mid to late game. And even when you look at Dignitas' composition, you say, okay, well, maybe they just want to play that same sort of game.
Straight onto Iceice, who's going to have to ult away, but he's not available. Qvo, Zyrhoes, and Trix just running around as a little goon squad. Season 3-esque.
But again, it's just the pressure exerted by Dignitas right now. It's in mid, it's in right, it's in left. Every lane has pressure right now for Dig, and that's where Rival picks their composition and says, okay, we can just chill a little bit, we'll get some pressure in solo, we'll expect that Sobek is going to go over there, and we'll just do the same sort of game plan. And then Dignitas says, no, you're fighting us on our terms, and it's going to be early, pre-10 minutes, and we're going to get as far ahead as we possibly can. 3K at this point in the game.
It's a big amount.
It's a lot for Season 5. This is a substantial lead for Dignitas.
In fairness, if this was top versus bottom in the Pro League, you'd probably be like, they can fight back into this, it's no problem.
And they can.
But this is the two of the top teams in Europe facing off, which means a lead like this is hard to lose. That's the problem. They're not going to give up a big window.
It's not that it's hard to lose necessarily, it's just you won't put yourself in a position to lose it. Like, this is a situation where if Dignitas drives the car correctly, if they just follow the directions, they end up at the enemy Titan and win the game. It's just if they make a wrong turn, if they make a wrong engagement, then it does open up the window for Rival. But this is a lead big enough where Dignitas would either have to A, make a mistake on an engagement, or B, not cover an obvious option for Rival to come back into the game.
Well, Trixtank definitely showing the Sobek stripes where he found them in the support role originally. Still work over there in that support lane, not just in the solo, as he's been majority picked at the moment.
And variety showing that Achilles solo, again, not really where he's majority picked, it seems like, though has been a little bit more once Benji started having some success with him, but has kind of been split down the middle between jungle and solo.
And that's been the argument. Which one does he fit into more? A lot of people have been saying jungle pressure, jungle pressure, jungle pressure. He's so good. But then solo lane, he exerts a lot of pressure there too.
He really does. And I'll be honest, I was one of the ones saying I'm not sure that he's top pick worthy, even in either role. Pickable, but not necessarily
Viable.
top pick. But man, the more that we see of him, the more it seems like I could have definitely been wrong, and this could be a top selection in either jungle or solo right now.
I mean, the pros feel that way, and that's one thing to always notice, is that whether you're a fan at home or whatever, if the pros think that way and the coaches think that way, there must be more to it than we're getting to see so far. Dignitas, though, going to start the Pyromancer. No one around from Rival. They have to accept they're going to lose some objectives with how the state of the game is, but this is just creating more of a window for them to have to fight back into.
Now nearing 5K in the gold department. XP already there above 5,000, but again, Rival has the potential to turn this around. They've got a really good late game composition with the damage being spread out, but you got to be worried about where Kalas is on this Ares. I mean, a little bit behind, yes, but even just a little bit behind for Ares feels really, really bad. And again, going for the pen boots himself instead of letting Wlfy go for them, I guess you get at least one member here. Not going to have that extra mobility or anything like that that Trixtank has with his boot selection.
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily need the mobility on the Ares 2 just because of the fact that he chains slow. So it makes it a lot easier. And with how Kalas kind of builds it, he goes for the Gem of Isolation anyway most of the time. Which means, you know, those slows mean that you can just move at the same speed and be ahead of them because of them.
Variety already has Mystical Mail done. He has a full Gladiator shield over Deathwalker right now.
That's
Both
huge.
solos have Mystical Mail, but only one has anything else. And it's not just starting an item, it's a full tier 2 item.
It's double sustain as well. That's
Yep.
the big thing. I mean, sustaining his kit plus the Gladiator shield is allowing a lot. Not even factoring in the Warrior's Blessing, which is a very useful item in itself.
It really is. I love that stacking of Glad Shield plus Warrior's Blessing. You feel so tanky and so safe because one ability hitting, you know, multiple gods returns so much HP, and that's before Variety uses the 2, which also gives him HP based on targets that he hits.
No messing around from Deathwalker there. Didn't even wait for this wave. This was just wise from him. He wanted to go back to get his relic more than anything else. He wanted that secondary relic. You can see he didn't have anything to really complete a final item, but he's going to go for the Steel Mail. So
Interesting. I believe that's an upgraded shell as well, very early on for Deathwalker. Qvo's going to need to use auto attacks to bring him down. Usually 1 to 2 autos is enough to finish off your target as a Nemesis. So blocking those 2 autos with an upgraded shell is really, really strong. Nice pickup.
Love what Variety did, though. He heavily punished Deathwalker there. Took a lot of the tower out of this right-hand side now. So one more wave with Deathwalker not being there. That tower will fall. Left-hand side tower is also down for Dignitas too. Pressuring onto Vote and keeping him pinned back. But pressure in the jungle on iceicebaby as Zyrhoes with a lovely shot through the wall finds the stun.
That's perfect time for Poke as well because this Gold Fury has just respawned. Variety brings down that tier 1 tower, so should be a little bit free to rotate if he needs to.
Trixtank on zone duty, lurking in the wall, is a little bit worried about the aggression. That's just to slow down Rival from getting anywhere near involved. New War forced to ult. Wlfy heads back to the safety of his team as Callus now going to bring Trixtank in, but Qvo with a good ultimate will force Rival to run scared.
Just not any damage right now from Rival's composition. I mean, Vote hasn't gone for the typical Ullr build of Transcendence or even Crusher early on. He's going for a standard ADC build, so that early game Ullr ability damage isn't really there for him in this build. Wlfy has no penetration quite yet in the build, just now finished off that Enchanted Spear, which brings 10 pen to the build, but even with the Clay Golems, it's going to be difficult to bring down Trixtank. iceicebaby is in a pretty decent spot, but even he went towards some defense in that 3rd item slot instead of continuing to build towards some offense and damage. So Dignitas, not only are they ahead, which means they're tankier, which means they have more HP, more items, but also Rival, because they're so far behind, hasn't been itemizing for their usual damage.
Yeah, the amount of items behind is really starting to become a big focal point. Dignitas in all the roles are in that way. Now Sovereignty nearly finished for Trixtank on the Sobek too, whereas Callus only at halfway to completing those Sovereignty stacks, relatively speaking. We'll see how this works out. Wlfy going for some penetration, as you'd expect. If you saw Desolation, probably see it again.
Could be a Divine Ruin as well. We talked about the sustain from Variety already on the Achilles.
I think you see the Divine Ruin when you're going for this cooldown option. That's what I think the issue is.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, getting to 30% CDR is a pretty big deal for Nuwa. Gets to use that Fire Shards more often. We were wondering if Zyrhoes was going to go for Warlock Staff, and he did after finishing the Chronos Pendant. And it's kind of a safety valve where even, Dignitas is saying, okay, we're ahead right now, so we can leverage that lead, and I'm not losing too much damage because I'm already doing more damage from my XP lead, so I'm not losing too much. But also, if Rival do start getting back into this, at least I have that tankiness. You could have seen Zyrhoes double down and go for a Spear of Desolation, a Spear of the Magus, a Soul Gem even, some sort of big damage item right there, and it could have probably been fine.
Lock on Wlfy. Wlfy's in a lot of trouble as he gets hit by the stun. Only had the Aegis available. Beads was available for him, actually, but he decided not to use it. Pulled in his QvoFred. The snipe came through. The judgment there from Zyrhoes is down. Variety and Trix dive in the tower. One execute for Variety. Deathwalker in trouble. There could be another execute on its way if Deathwalker drops any lower.
Oh, there it is, but able to get away. Variety can't quite find it. Meanwhile,
Ooh,
Vote
2v1 solo kill.
finds
Good
the solo
work
kill
from Vote there to bring down Arkkyl.
That's exactly what Rival needed. Something to go in their favor. Problem is, Qvo immediately cleaned it up and traded it 1-for-1. Vote really needed that, not only for the kill bounty, but for the ability to get some free waves in the left-hand side. But because he falls afterwards, it's really not worth a whole lot.
Couple of crazy engagements at the same time. I mean, Variety versus Deathwalker, we missed the solo kill there. And then we missed the 2v1 because there was action on other parts of the map at the same time. Awkward time to be a cameraman, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's not easy right now. It was pretty easy in the first 2 games because it was kind of slow.
Everybody grouped together.
Exactly. Nowadays, in this game 3, Dignitas not only throwing the cameraman for a loop, but I think Rival as well. I don't think Rival was really ready for the amount of pressure and the pacing exactly that Dignitas wanted to go for.
Yeah, this pace has really been set nicely from Dignitas here. And they've really just kept the foot on the throat
I mean,
Rival.
if for Europe, this is like Mach 5. Like, this is as fast as you'll ever see
That's true.
specifically
Yeah.
Dignitas play. They might as well be going a million miles an hour right now.
NA, if you're going really fast, you're on a Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. In North America, this game's over already half the time, it feels like. Like, not just there's one team so far ahead, but literally the Titan is dead.
We mentioned the 3K lead earlier on. Now it's 8,500 with 10,000 experience too. Rival have their back against the wall, only with tier 2 towers remaining. They've already lost 2 Gold Furies. The third one about to spawn in a minute's time. Is it do or die for Rival yet in this game? Is it like time to try and make a stand, or do we just wait at Phoenixes for the
I mean, the defense composition isn't bad for Rival on the sieging because of the Nuwa specifically, but man, Dignitas' late game I still think is better than what Rival's going to be able to
Vote could be in
provide.
trouble on left-hand side right now. QvoFred wrapping around the back. Desert Fury on his channel, and Vote will actually be able to use the pillar for a second to help him out as Arkkyl tried to deny Qvo stealing his kill. Didn't work out though. Vote will still fall, and now the tier 2 tower on the left will now follow suit.
I do think it's time for Rival to make a do-or-die play,
But
because maybe around a Fire Giant pull from Dignitas, if you can get in there, steal it, hope that the FG gets other people low, that you could finish off. Because I know Achilles has a rough time transitioning into the late game, but Variety is so far ahead that it's still going to be a while before he really falls off, it feels like. And even then, he still has an execute. Even when his damage isn't that relevant, other players' damage is, and then he can take advantage of that and find the execute. Rival's composition, he still has to worry about the Thoth, the Sobek in the late game, Nem late game. It's going to be really hard. 3 members of Rival groups on the right-hand side here, where Gold Fury's under threat. It's going to go down to Dignitas. Nothing really Rival can do about that one whatsoever. Only kills of the game have been Vote. He's the only one that's really managed to find anything this game. And it goes back to this composition in a lot of ways for me. Rival, again, drafting for the later stages, expecting the slower pacing from Dignitas, but also they mentioned it on the desk in game 2. Love the Isis Ares combination because of the guaranteed setup from Isis. Will set up the Ares, and you're not really lacking that CC. Nuwa brings CC. She's got a free root in the kit and a stun to someone close range, but it's not that long range initiation that Isis was bringing, and I feel like Rival's composition just doesn't work as well as a unit.
I will say, I think Ares is getting a little bit more value, and I'm not sure why, over the likes of an RTO, who will bring very similar things to this composition in terms of cripple, lockdown potential.
Yeah, but Qvo and Zyrhoes both have dashes that get crippled and no CC mute ultimates, and those are the 2 boxes that you want to check if you're picking Ares.
Very, very true indeed. Fire Giant at half health. Rival maybe making their last stand right about now, but Dignitas are looking for the fight. They've reset the Fire Giant. They're going to burst down Callus. That Ares is in trouble, and over the wall. Max distance from Zyrhoes connects. Into the sky goes Wlfy, trying to get a reset off. Rival falling back, still alive for now.
Variety, so much sustain though, and Qvo gonna blink forward and finish what the rest of Dig started. He finds Kalas. That was as good of an engagement as Rival could have ever hoped for. Kalas gets, what, 4 ultimates used on him in that fight and survives.
Round the corner, the bait was good there. Zyrhoes kind of walked forward on his own, and the rest of the team like, no, we've got it back. We're low on health here. But only one member falls.
Exactly, but like I was saying, 4 ultimates used on Kalas. He survives for a while, and Rival pulls Variety underneath the tower, and they're just too far behind to do anything about it. That's the situation where Rival kind of looks at each other and goes, man, we are really in trouble now, because if we cannot draw up a better engagement than that, and we still couldn't find a kill.
It's not a terrible situation overall for Rival, though, if you look at itemization. Like, they're actually almost equal pace in terms of items. It's only really Dignitas' Variety that's further ahead. But that last engagement may have broken Rival's chance of defending the Fire Giant. They had to limp back to base 2, as did Dig, but Dig back very quickly to pick up the Fire Giant this time round at 21.5 minutes. 11-2, and now it's tier 2 tower time.
And they got 2 to take down. That's going to be an extra 3,000 gold for Dignitas, and the gold lead is already massive right now for Dig. So that item difference is definitely going to get even bigger right now as they look for even more. Could even go for a Phoenix.
Yeah, they saw 2 on the left-hand side, I think, and that's why they're going to start to try and pressure this a little bit quicker. The bases have come through from Rival, though. They're on the turnaround to try and get back and defend, but they've already lost half a Phoenix in.
Deathwalker stunned by Zyrhoes, but not a lot of follow-up from a distance. This is going to be a tough Phoenix to siege against the Nuwa for now, but Rival still seem pretty hesitant.
Yeah, the poke from Zero was just causing so many problems for them over and over again with that long-range barrage. Right, you could tank up this Phoenix for days if required. Trixtank could easily take a bit of the brunt of it too if required. Rival, though, surrendering the Phoenix.
No surprise. Just not enough. Their siege defense isn't bad whenever Nuwa is near full build. When even the Fog is doing good poke damage, will clear the wave by itself. But Wlfy's only level 17, doesn't have a lot of damage in that build. I mean, just a Warlock Staff, Divine Ruin, and Boots really brings very little damage to your entire kit.
And you can see that in the player damage on the left-hand side. Wlfy slipped down to 5.3k. I mean, granted, game 2, yeah, his player damage was low, but he was very much focused around the CC for the team, the controller of the team. Nuwa, not so much.
No, Nuwa's got to be there to do some damage. We'll bring control of course, but it's even really just the ultimate that you need to be doing damage.
You know what I want to actually see out Wlfy now, though? Maybe Rival using the fog a little bit here, trying to make a play with the fog, using Ares, and maybe the Raven to sneak inside it, look for a cheeky play to turn this one around. I think that's the kind of call I'll be looking for.
Something that'll catch Dignitas off guard, because if they're prepared and they've got their wits about them and they know what's coming, their lead is so big right now that I don't think they'll drop the engagement.
Definitely looking for a cheeky fog. That's what my call's going to be anyway. I think it's the only thing I can really see for Rival to turn this one around. All the tier 2 towers are down. Dignitas, after taking out that middle one, they're starting to pressure the left-hand side at the same time, making sure Rival don't get any free towers on the left-hand side. No towers actually dead for Dignitas this game. And honestly, not many of them taking much damage either.
No, not at all. And no one is taking a lot of damage on their towers. I like this adjustment from Vote to go for the Titan's Bane, because normally not great in that 4th item slot, but because of how far ahead Dignitas is and how Variety's full build, you need that pen as fast as possible.
Phoenix being focused, Callus chipped down a little bit there as Zyrhoes just keeps on using that artillery at max range, trying to put out as much as he can. Wlfy turns up though, and Callus goes in with those 2 chains, but he's already dead!
Final Judgment finishing off, but Zyrhoes falls right behind him. Deathwalker pushing forward, looking for Arkkyl, has the war cry, needs a couple more hits to do it, but the shell was too good from Dig.
Great shell coming out from Trixtank, and now the engage is back on. Variety blinks in, looking for the stun, won't find as much as he wanted to. Wlfy trying to limp away, use the fog for cover. Trixtank looking for a pluck, he can find it, finds Vote. Meanwhile, Qvo and Variety chasing down Iceice, who's one more hit on Iceice, and he will fall too.
Oh, Vote trying to get to his fountain, and he'll get there, but I'm not sure that Wlfy will. Good jukes inside the fog actually makes sure that he survives.
But the Titan is under pressure from fire minions in the right-hand side. Dignitas are going to take down Rival 2-1.
Impressive from Dig, and also from Rival. I mean, this was a really, really close set, but that game 3 was pure dominance from Dignitas, and I think that really tells a great story about the way that these two teams can be. I mean, they're so close through games 1 and 2, you have no idea who's going to win. Then one team just ekes out the other, and then in game 3, you see that either of these squads has the potential to blow you out if you make a couple bad mistakes.
Rough situation for Rival then. They're going to fall down 2-1 to Dignitas here today, which that's what happened in the earlier weeks too.
Yep, this is consistent with the script so far. I mean, Energy, they beat Dig, Dig beats Rival, Rival beats Energy.
We'll find out what goes on with the rest of those going forward. But who do you guys at home think was MVP in that set? I'm guessing someone on Dig.
If you don't vote for Variety or Trixtank, you're trolling. Those are the only 2 viable options.
Did have a pretty good game there.
Yes.
To be fair, Zyrhoes put a lot of damage out there.
Nope, you're trolling.
You don't think so?
Nope, you're trolling.
All right.
The only reason he got ahead is because Trixtank hit every pluck in the early mid game and sent him up.
And that really did help them out for the most part on that Sobek too. Let's head over to Tom and Tolly to break down that amazing set.
Thanks a lot, boys. A fantastic job on the call. Tom and Tolly here on the desk, and we're going to break down Dignitas versus Rival, a 3-game set in which the black and yellow do find the victory after 3 games.
That's right. It was very close in the first 2 games, but game number 3 specifically got to lean a little bit on Variety's Achilles there. At about the 8.5 minute mark specifically, that was when he was in a 1v2 position, actually kills Deathwalker, survives against iceicebaby, and oh wait, the rest of his team, they get Gold Fury.
Exactly. You know, we've seen that rotation time and time again, but very rarely is it actually successful on the side of the solo laner. A lot of the times we see the 1 versus 2, and then he dies, but we go, it's okay, you got a gold. Well, this time, Dignitas had their cake and ate it too, and the baker was Variety. 3-0-4 for the big man out of the UK. And this guy looked fantastic, and that's what he looked like. You saw there was no God. That's what he must have been invisible to the enemy team, because he was always in front of them, just bringing them the business.
Mr. Harry Cummings there, the solo laner from Team Dignitas, really putting in work here, considering he was playing the Sobek games 1 and 2, switching things up on the Achilles, allowing Trixtank to pilot it, and honestly, Trixtank did a fantastic job with that God as well.
Absolutely, and here I think is really, he showed off what Achilles does best, and this is a solo laner that's not going to act like your normal solo laners. He's a little bit more aggressive.
And this play right here when he was tower diving was enabled by the pluck originally from Trixtank there around the 16.5 minute mark, where I think he plucks out Wlfy, they force out this double relics, and then they just go on to a tear once they tower dive.
Dignitas domination, 14-3 was the final kill count there. Just an intense amount of recklessness coming out from Team Dignitas, and this is the squad. I mean, this is the team.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember how excited I was about this team last year? I remember even the casters kind of like, you got to chill with Dignitas. And I was like, no, I don't. This team is that good. And then I was shut up when they didn't make Worlds. But now they're crushing it, and I'm just as loud. You're not going to get me to shut up, Tully.
I'm not trying to, honestly, Tom. That's what you get paid for, and I'm just going to let you roll with it. But this Week 2 rematch here still goes to Dignitas. Same exact score, 2-1 here. Rival, they dropped down 62 in the set score. They're still +9, though. They drop from +10 to +9, whereas Dignitas go from +4 to +5.
Great stuff all over the place. I'm going to go yell at Aggro about how much I love Team Dignitas and their success. Coming up next, Obey Alliance take on Mouse Sports. We'll see you in a couple.
down a little.